Good afternoon and welcome to the MeetUp OnAir webcast brought to you by Core BTS and Microsoft. Today's presenter is Timothy Flite, National Director at Core BTS. In this Microsoft Technology Roadmap event, you'll learn how you can unify your organization and create a new workspace using Lync. A couple of quick logistical items before we begin. First, you'll notice a chat feature in the bottom left-hand side of your monitor. We'll be taking your comments and questions throughout the webinar for a quick Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Just to the right of that, you'll notice a scheduling module. Please feel free to use this to schedule a more in-depth conversation with a Core BTS representative. As a thank you for taking this next step, you'll receive an additional gift card which will be sent to you following your meeting. So with that, let's get started with the program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending our MeetUp OnAir session. As was just mentioned, my name is Timothy Flite. I oversee Core BTS's Microsoft practice from a national perspective, and I'll be providing you with today's session. I just want to take a real quick brief moment and introduce my organization, Core BTS, for those of you that might not be familiar with us. Core BTS is a Microsoft-managed Gold partner with several different competencies throughout our organization. Core BTS is also one of 34 national systems integrator partners, or Microsoft NSI partners, which is a designation awarded to partners that have a large focus on the service delivery side of things. So we have a lot of expertise in the products themselves, but we also have a large amount of expertise in deploying, implementing the solutions, and making them work properly in your environment. So today we're talking about Microsoft Lync 2013. As you'll see from the slide deck here, it mentions Lync Server 2013 and Lync Online. Lync is a platform that's available as an on-premise solution as well as hosted in Microsoft's Office 365 cloud environment, and that's what the title of the presentation here alludes to. Core BTS, before we get into the slide decks here, I just want to mention that Core does a lot of work with helping clients not only identify solutions that we feel are good fits for your environment, such as the Lync solution we're going to discuss today. We also do a lot of work to customize these solutions, to integrate these solutions inside your existing environment to make them work, as they work extremely well, with the standard configuration, and we do a lot of work with making modifications to your unique environment so that they can be best leveraged within your environment. So with that, we're going to get started and go through some of the slide decks here. So technology has brought us a very long way in terms of how we communicate in the business world. But as technology and collaboration technologies have evolved, they've evolved largely independently. So, as you see on the slide deck here, you have your Office apps, and Offices continue to evolve, video conferencing, audio conferencing. Many organizations today might have one service for video conferencing, whether it's, room-based video conferencing systems or, individual user-based conferencing systems that are completely separate from their audio conferencing systems. A lot of clients we work with still use a third-party company specifically for, dial-in voice bridges, and they might use something completely separate for video. And then obviously the telephone and the telephony side of things is often, a complete another solution inside your organization. Instant messaging. We find a lot of clients that leverage instant messaging, whether it's their internal standardized platform or whether they're allowing their end users to use third-party chat systems, Skype and whatnot. Web conferencing, yet another piece. We have a lot of clients that might have subscriptions to third-party services when they need to do larger scale one-to-many kind of web conferencings and setups, voicemail, and then persistent chat. Persistent chat, for those of you not familiar with that term, might be a little more of a unique term, is kind of a static chat environment that can be shared within departmental groups and things of that nature. For those of you that are familiar with IRC and things of that nature, that's what they're referring to with the persistent chat. So today's information workers, they're using a variety of products and services to meet all of these needs in their professional and personal lives, and the professional and personal lives are coming together more and more these days. For most companies today, telephony and voicemail, email, IM, audio conferencing, video conferencing, web conferencing, group communication tools, they all live in their own disconnected silos, often managed by different departments within your organization as well. Each has evolved a separate operating platform, often with proprietary third-party technologies, separate clients, separate authentication modules, separate administration, separate storage, separate compliance, and so on. Add to that all the consumer-oriented tools and web services that we're using in our daily lives. The result is an enormous headache for the end user, who has to remember separate phone numbers, account names, passwords. Plus, these users have limited communication with each device. For example, not being able to make audio calls from their computers, and ultimately their communication is disconnected or dispersed through multiple devices, multiple technologies, some of which may not even be managed by your information technology department today. These independent silos, which now encompass your enterprise and consumer world, have led to redundancies and inefficiencies, for the IT administrator. It's become difficult and definitely expensive to maintain them and to ensure each is in compliance with your whatever your regulations your unique business is subject to. And making them, having so many different technologies within your environment definitely leads to issues with manageability. So to follow that, Microsoft Lync, reduces complexity by putting people at the center of the communication experience. The goal here is to integrate all the ways that we contact with each other into a single environment, using a single client, a single identity, which is, typically your identity is your Active Directory, your standard logon credentials. Doing all this while providing business, with the power to choose how they provision these services, whether on your own premises, in the cloud, Office 365, hybrid models, where you have some of the systems on-premise, some of these systems out in the cloud. Lync provides a consistent single client experience when it comes to presence, instant messaging, voice, video, and it also offers a great meeting experience, whether it's one-to-many, many-to-many. Lync delivers an experience that's differentiated from any other unified communication solution in the industry. It has best-of-breed integration with the Microsoft Office apps, which you're not going to get with some of the other options out there. Lync users focus less on how they use the tools and direct their energy to meeting the needs of your business. And the point there is that once a solution like this is deployed, it just becomes part of how you do business. You no longer think of it as launching a separate application or leveraging a separate platform. With Lync as your unified communication platform, IT administrators are able to modernize their operations and simplify administration with Active Directory, common data stores, and shared set of archive and compliance tools across the multiple UC components. In many systems today, folks, if you're deploying a voice system and you have a call center, or if you're deploying a video system and you need to record sessions for future playback, if you need to be able to audit instant messaging and logs for compliance reasons, for legal audit reasons, and so forth, you could be talking about dozens of different things. You need a tool to record this, a tool to record that, et cetera, et cetera. With the Lync platform, everything is essentially a single platform that has audit, compliance, controls, all on top of all the different features, voice, video, audio, et cetera, and greatly simplifies the overall process from a manageability perspective. So what's new in Lync? Be there without going there. The vision for Lync builds upon the strengths of Lync 2010, which was the previous release. Today we're discussing Lync 2013. This takes a broader view of how communications, data, and human interaction can blend in order to drive connections among a diverse and distributed workforce. A big emphasis on the distributed workforce, whether it's standard remote workers, it's telecommuters, it's workers that are on the road often. You'll see a recurring theme about the emphasis to make a ubiquitous, seamless experience across the worker, wherever they happen to be. When design and touch are layered in, Microsoft's focusing on making it look and feel the same across all the different platforms. The essence of Lync 2013 is captured in these four pillars mentioned here: multi-party HD video and content sharing, modern mobile and web clients, social and it's socially integrated, just out of the box by design, and then federation with Skype. Our company does a lot of work with helping clients evaluate these kind of technologies and determine how they can be leveraged in your environment, how to move forward with them. And we find that a large amount of organizations we sit down and work with and go through this process, many of their end users are already using something. whether you know it or not or approve of it or not. Skype, things of that nature. Essentially, consumer-based systems. So it's often one challenge we often run into is that a lot of folks in your organization may be used to chatting with other organizations through Skype, other folks that they work with through Skype. It's just part of the way they already do business. So Lync has integration with Skype such that when you deploy it, you're not getting in the way of that. You can still chat with Skype folks on Skype through Lync, but you now put your process and your control on top of it. You're able to audit those conversations, search them for legal discovery, et cetera, et cetera. So the first pillar here being multi-party HD video and content sharing. Lync 2013 or Lync Online showcase advances in video and visual communications. I see what you mean. It takes on a whole entirely different meaning when colleagues and customers from down the hall, across town, or around the globe can see each other's gestures while hearing their tone and seeing their physical movements and so forth when you're working together in a Lync session. Lync further delivers on the promise of access anywhere, as we mentioned in the mobile web client pillar here. Ensuring that Lync is available anywhere, a user has access to Windows 8 or 7 PC, tablets, mobile devices, or browser-based communication. Modern mobile and web client investments allow Lync to be where the users are, putting your people at the center of the communications and collaboration. And yet, with the diversity of the platform, form factor, and device support, the experience is familiar and engaging. Some of the slides will come up here, folks. You'll see Microsoft has put a lot of effort into making Lync client available and very similar across all the platforms. I believe in the picture on the slide here they're showing a Windows mobile phone. The Lync is available for your Windows PC, obviously, Windows 7, Windows 8. It's available for Mac computers. It's available for Windows mobile phones, for iPhones, for Android phones, for Android tablets, for Apple tablets and so forth. It's available across all these different platforms, and the look and feel of the client is almost identical across all of these platforms. So it's a very clean look, and it's very similar across the platform, so you're not educating users and going through different processes on all the different platforms that your end users might be using, or you might be allowing them to use. It also mentions the Lync Web App for browser access. So when you're having meetings, one-to-many, or meetings where you invite folks outside of your organization that may not be a Microsoft Lync environment, they can actually run the Lync Web App, which is a completely web-enabled app that's fully functional. They can interact with you just like they have Lync running in their environment, even though it's actually just a web-based application. Lync was built from the ground up to deliver identity-based communications, pivoting on a user's identity rather than the old paradigm of using phone numbers as a proxy, for your individual. Lync integration across Office apps enables a one-click communication directly from within the productivity applications, used by your information workers. Lync is integrated with Outlook, SharePoint, OneNote, and essentially all the Microsoft Office applications. Users do not have to leave any of their current applications to access these feature sets. So that's something that was partially integrated with Lync 2010, and it's been fully implemented in Lync 2013, such that when you have Lync installed on your system, the functionality of Lync, whether it's making a phone call or instant messaging somebody or checking out people's presence, things of that nature, is available inside the applications. I don't need to leave Word and flip to my Lync client if I don't want to I am Bob and ask him about this document. It's all fully integrated across the different platforms. Lync breaks down solution silos and application boundaries, making communication and collaboration natural and certainly much less complex. As I mentioned, federation with Skype unlocks the potential to bring all these investments and the rich communication into scenarios with folks that are not using Lync as well. And we'll mention it later, but this particular slide specifically mentions federation with Skype. Microsoft also offers federation with other platforms, Google Chat, various other, essentially XMPP, which is a chat protocol-based communication devices out there. So we mentioned before multi-party, high-definition video, and here it specifically mentions H.264 support. H.264 is a commonly used codec, and a codec is a way of encoding video, but a commonly used protocol codec for transmitting high-definition audio and video communication. So Lync 2013 has full support for the H.264 to enable great meeting experiences and collaboration. With the new gallery view, you automatically see everyone in the Lync meeting via continuous view of multiple HD video streams or photos. The video gallery scales to provide the best experience for a diverse set of scenarios, including a point-to-point video call, a small group of collaborative sessions, or the presentation style sessions, whether they be small or even very large presentations. Showing the most relevant people in the meeting at all times by bringing the 5 dominant speakers' video into focus, into the standing row. And what that means is when you're doing a multi-party video chat like this, and there's a little picture there in the slide that shows it to you, I could have 20 people in a Lync video chat. At any given time, Lync automatically senses who is speaking, and the 5 most recent speaking individuals' video is active, so you see them moving, you see them talking. The person who's speaking currently will, by default, show up as the largest individual on your screen. And then as people stop talking or talk less or are muted, it actively and dynamically decides who is talking, and at all given times you'll see 5 folks in high definition with their audio and video active. And then as you speak and as you begin to talk, it'll modify the screen in real time to adjust to that. For Lync client users, the legacy audio conference call experience is transformed with the video gallery. Participants' names are displayed with their video or photos. Active speakers can be identified visually without having to open a roster or a list. The roster is accessible to view full contact card information if you need it, but you can hide everything you can hide all information except for the actual pictures of the folks if you prefer to look at it in that fashion. Lync uses industry standards, including H.264, to enable the Multiparty HD video experience across a range of devices. The investment in the H.264 support enables each participant to receive a video stream that's optimized in terms of quality for their endpoint and their network connectivity at that time. Photos replace video streams if the quality is not met or it doesn't meet minimum standards. And the IT administrator can define these settings on the back end Lync side of that configuration. So this slide speaks to the presenter controls you get for different meeting types. So when a meeting is scheduled, the organizer can select a dedicated space or create a new meeting room with an ID and a password if you want to secure it with a password. Customizing the meeting options allows the Lync meeting to serve a unique set of requirements, facilitate a more normal or structured meeting type, or manage the experience for the participants themselves. So, for example, if you have external participants, specific presenters, or confidential information to discuss, a meeting organizer might want to leverage the lobby feature to create a more controlled space. So the lobby feature is essentially when folks join a meeting, you can see who's about to join. They're in a lobby, and you can admit them as you see fit or dismiss them as you see fit and have control over who's in the meeting. All this from your Lync client. So again, you're not launching another tool to do any of these features. Depending upon the type or the size of the meeting, you can now decide if you want to mute the audience and allow or block video sharing when scheduling. These options are available in the meeting options page and are recommended for Lync meetings with more than 20 participants in general. Presenters and organizers can even select and lock a video of a designated or specific person in the meeting, essentially putting them in the video spotlight and focus for everyone else in the meeting. So what that means is, as I mentioned earlier, by default, Lync will actively decide who's speaking most recently. It'll bring that speaker into the larger image. But you as the meeting organizer or the presenter can take control of that. You can grab a certain individual, pull them into the middle, and lock them as the main presenter. If you're on a meeting and something is happening in somebody's screen, that something has gone south, and you want to hide what they're doing, you can mute them, you can lock their video, you can close them out. You have very granular control, both ahead of time, if you know exactly how you want things ahead of time, and in real time, so you can react to the meeting as it progresses as well. During the meeting, presenters need to focus on their delivery and the participants and not be distracted with meeting administration, ideally. Lync now uses peaks to provide more functionality with less clutter. Peek buttons that are revealed when you hover over certain areas of the Lync meeting window. For example, if you hover over the monitor icon to see all the options for sharing and managing content, you hover over the telephone icon to see mute or hold options, and you hover over the three dots to the right to see more options. So end user selected views of content and people. So this is what the folks that are joining or attending your meeting have the ability to go through. So essentially this really does enable a great meeting experience and definitely adds to the collaborative side of meetings. Lync users focus less on how to use the tools and direct their energy to meeting the needs of the actual business, to accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish, rather than focusing on the tool I'm using and how to make sure everything's working correctly. Meeting views are designed to bring content and people together while optimizing the Lync meeting experience for every individual participant's needs. The meeting view is selected by the participant and visible only to them. So each participant has control of their own meeting view. So there's a little image here on the slide, and this is my meeting view. This is how I like to experience the meeting. Somebody else that's on this call might prefer to look at it in a different fashion. They might prefer to see the video down the bottom while the shared slide deck up top, or the shared slide deck off to the right with the video on the left. You guys have complete control of how you experience a meeting. The gallery view shows all the participants' photos or videos, and the speaker view shows the meeting content with the presenter's video or photo in the lower right-hand corner of the meeting window, like it shows in the speaker view slide here. Compact view shows only the participants' photos. You can just hover over their photo to see their contact information if you want as well. So the Lync Windows Store app. We mentioned earlier about some of the accessibility across device platforms. Lync is reimagined and specifically optimized for touch on Microsoft Windows 8. Lync's optimized for an immersive Windows 8 immersive experience. It takes advantage of the Windows 8 touch first. And Microsoft focuses obviously on the Windows 8 touch side of things, but it's fully optimized for touch in all the other platforms that include touch as well. It provides a fast, natural, hands-on control of communications across a variety of devices and architectures, while benefiting from the end-to-end security and the strong, powerful management features you guys get with the solution out of the box. The Lync notification enhancements provide glance and go indicators and alerts for incoming and missed connections, enabling connectivity while reducing resource consumption on the device. That's particularly important on phones and things like that typically have limited battery life. Collaboration capabilities, including Lync meetings with full-screen immersive application, are engaging and dynamic on these kind of platforms as well. You can easily escalate conversations and move within conversations. So that means I can be instant messaging somebody and quickly escalate that to a voice call or video call, and that's obviously part of the Lync client on Windows. But it's also part of the Lync client on the tablet experience as well. Lync leverages snapped view experiences, providing engaging and rich multitasking, allowing you to stay connected on your terms. So one of the things I would definitely take away from that is from the mobility perspective, and using this on the field, I can give you guys an example of how I leverage this. So I use an Android phone, and I have a tablet as well. So when I'm in work, I always have Lync running, and it's my instant messaging platform, and I use it all the time. But as soon as I shut down my laptop, Lync is also running on my phone. So I can continue to receive instant messaging on my phone, very similar to a text message, but it's just using your data service, and it's obviously integrated back into your corporate environment. If I choose to, I can have my Lync calls routed to my phone as well. So if folks call me on Lync and the system knows that I'm not on my computer, it will ring my phone, and I can dictate how that happens and things of that nature. You can actually attend Lync conferences from your mobile devices as well. The conference view that we saw a few slides back, you can actually get that right on the. You can do it on the phones. It's a little more useful on the tablets if you're looking at a slideshow and things like that, but it all works on both of the platforms. So I have Lync with me 24/7, whether it's on my phone or my tablet, or my computer itself. And again, as I mentioned in the slide here, the Lync is familiar and it's engaging, and it looks almost identical across all the different platforms that it's currently available on. So, a little more about the mobile devices. The mobile client experiences, are designed for that device. So, Lync Mobile Client enables users to make and receive calls using a single consistent Lync identity and to join Lync meetings from a mobile device with a single touch while avoiding long numeric passcodes or pins from the native calendar application. And that's one thing that shouldn't be overlooked. I'm sure a lot of you folks have had situations where you get a calendar invite for some kind of a meeting. You go on your phone, you're in the car or whatever you're driving, you open the calendar, you have to find the phone number to dial, which you can sometimes click the phone number and the phone will automatically dial it, but then you have to remember the 9-digit code, and I often find myself, in that situation, hopping back to the calendar invite, hoping that the phone conferencing system doesn't get mad and time me out because I haven't hopped back to the phone screen to type it in quickly enough. So what they're pointing out here is that when your organization leverages Lync internally, and you schedule Lync meetings, and the fact that there's a Lync client on the phone, to join that meeting, since you're already authenticated to Lync through Active Directory on your phone, you literally, the calendar reminder on your phone will pop up, or you would go into that calendar meeting, you would click that, one click, the Lync client launches, and it just happens. You're not typing in pins, you're not typing, additional passwords, unless you guys specifically go out of your way to require additional passwords for it, which is an option should you want. But it provides a very, very easy and, honestly, safer experience. We probably don't want our end users, our coworkers, answering phone calls and doing conferences from the car, but we all know it happens. So that's a very quick point that Microsoft mentions here, but it's a pretty powerful way to make things easier to function while on the road. The feature set, for this continues to rapidly evolve in Lync 2013, including, the voice over IP integration, including peer-to-peer calls, phone calls through your phone that are only leveraging bandwidth, data service as opposed to your phone. So if I call somebody through my phone on Lync, so I open up my Lync client, I click one of my coworkers and I call him. It's I put it up to my ear and I talk just like I'm making a phone call on my phone, but in reality, it's going over data and it's going over IP and communicating through the corporate environment and so forth. So the Lync app, the Lync Web App for browser access to Lync meetings. So I mentioned this earlier. The web-based Lync app looks very similar, as you can see in the slide here, to the actual full-blown Lync app, Lync client. The Lync Web App allows PC and Mac users to join Lync meetings from within an HTML5 enabled browser and delivers a full Lync meeting experience, including the Multiparty HD video, voice over IP, instant messaging, desktop application, and PowerPoint sharing as well. The Lync Web App eliminates the need to install client software by using browser-based client to join and participate in Lync meetings from a shared device or PC, whether you're on the road, in a Starbucks, etc. External clients, partners, and customers can join Lync meetings with Lync Web App, eliminating the need to download or install any kind of Lync attendee or separate applications. So one thing to point out here, the way this is licensed, Lync, you license it for your corporate users or your internal users. When you schedule meetings for third-party, where you're inviting customers, you're inviting, other companies you work with, essentially inviting anybody that's not an employee or part of your Microsoft Active Directory and Lync environment, they get a link in the calendar invite. They get taken back to this Lync Web App page that's hosted within your Lync environment, and they launch this real-time Lync Web application that runs inside the browser. You don't have to license that separately or whatnot. It's included. As long as you license your organization, the ability to offer and deliver the Lync Web App is included. And it's extremely simple. You essentially click on the meeting, and the meeting comes up. You say you agree to to launch the application. Within a few seconds, it's up and running, and you can share your PowerPoints. You can do the video and audio with your presenter and with the folks attending the meeting and so forth. And again, for those familiar with Lync, it looks almost exactly the same. So it makes it simplifies that quite a bit. So great collaboration experiences from the desktop, a browser, mobile device, and in the conference room. Scroll through my slides here. So we'll talk a little bit about the Lync Room system. I'm sorry. Customer research showed that most businesses were not getting the best experience from collaboration-enabled conference rooms. For example, it can take almost 15 minutes to start a meeting with video and content. Time is money, and to make organizations more productive, we set out to make a solution, one based on Lync, that's consistent with the principles of how Lync operates as an overall unified communication platform. So what is the Lync Room system? It's Lync. Lync software on industry standard hardware, single unified meeting experience that supports instant messaging, voice, video, and collaboration. It's very easy to use. The familiar Lync user interface to start or join a meeting with a single click. It's easy to manage with intuitive controls, the same meeting controls we discussed earlier. Remote participants can easily see and hear the discussion and the content presented. It's very easy to switch between presenters, and you have 1080p multi-party high definition, and it's easy to deploy. Simple provisioning through device that can link server and Exchange, Active Directory, just like Lync is managed in any other scenario. This particular aspect here is a comprehensive solution sold by some third parties, so it's essentially Lync as a platform on top of hardware-based solutions. I should mention that Lync is can be completely integrated with existing solutions. So we have a lot of our clients that are interested in an instant messaging platform, a presence platform, a one-to-one or one-to-many PC-based collaborative tool like Lync, but that doesn't mean they might not already have an investment in room-based conferencing systems, whether it's a Cisco system or a Polycom system or Tandberg or Lifesize, etc. You can completely configure the Lync system such that I can be on my computer on Lync and I can call into a room-based conferencing system somewhere else in my organization or somewhere else outside of my organization. So Lync's move to the H.264 based high-definition video allows it to properly talk to almost any other systems out there through something called a mediation server, which is part of the Lync 2013 deployment. So don't think or assume that deploying or integrating Lync for all the great benefits you get out of it means you have to remove or not leverage an investment you may have. We have many clients that have investments in room-based conferencing systems that some of them are leveraging them pretty heavily. Like this slide talks about, some of them have room-based conferencing systems that they don't leverage all that well or all that often for multiple reasons. A, it's typically a harder thing to get up and running, or B, it's just where it's located and things of that nature. But you can absolutely integrate the Lync experience with existing room-based systems that you might have. So a single identity and shared contact card across business and your social apps. Talk about this a little bit. The contact card is a dynamic resource that displays a contact's high-resolution photo should you choose to post a photo in your Lync setup. Their presence, status, note, location, and organizational details, they're all consistent across all the Microsoft applications. Lync users see their contacts, availability in real-time chat, and they can quickly move between active conversations and Lync meetings. When privacy or confidentiality is a concern, users can modify your settings to change your presence. So by default, folks, if I'm showing as green and I accept a call through Lync that somebody calls me, it will change my presence to red and say I'm in a call. Lync is fully integrated with Exchange, so if Exchange shows that I'm in a meeting, it will automatically change my Lync status to red or busy and say I'm in a meeting. You can also force it. So before I got on this conference call here today to present to you folks, I specifically went into my Lync client and I changed it to Do Not Disturb, which means I cannot receive any instant messages or calls so that I wouldn't be interrupted during this session. So this speaks to the identity. With the contact card in particular, Lync users can bring together information from internal and external networks, for example, SharePoint, LinkedIn, Facebook, into a single card for each person in the contact list. And users can initiate a call or instant message directly from the contact card based on the user's presence. Contact management is simpler by enabling users to search and find contacts from the corporate address book and all federated organizations. So OneNote. OneNote is now directly integrated into Lync as well. OneNote's part of the Office suite. It's integrated for taking meeting notes and recording attendance. Whiteboard sketches and slide annotations can also be saved into OneNote notebooks. OneNote Share allows users to create and share OneNote digital meeting notes within a Lync meeting, reducing errors and causing later transcription and simplifying communications, for follow-up. So you can record it and you can go back and either transcribe it or use some of the voice-to-text features with OneNote. And OneNote can be shared in preparation for a meeting, during as a resource for content or a tool for note-taking, or as a means of just following the reporting status throughout the engagement. For those of you that are familiar with and use OneNote today. So communicating with everyone in your contact list directly from Office, Apps, and SharePoint. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, and I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit because I think I'm running behind here. But if you take a look at the picture of Sarah Davis there, and you see the options that come up when you hover over her, the one to the far left is actually an instant messaging. So without leaving Outlook or Office in any application, you can click that and instantly chat with Sarah. If you click the item to the right of her, which is the phone, it will call Sarah based upon her presence status. So if by default my presence is configured that if I'm on my Lync client, call me on Lync. If it's configured to call my desk phone, and I could click that call button and it will do one of two things. It will either call directly from my computer and ring Sarah's desk phone, or I can configure it such that if I also have a desk phone, I can click that button and my phone will start ringing. I'll pick it up and it'll be calling Sarah. You can push the down arrow next to the phone icon, and you can specifically say call her desk, call her cell phone, call her on Lync, and essentially ignore her predetermined status of where she wants her calls to go to. And then obviously the one that looks like a little camera, launches the video side of it, so you can ask Sarah, hey, can we have a video chat? And all of this without actually leaving Office at all. In this situation, it's showing Outlook. But the same, it's pervasive across the whole Office suite. So this talks a little bit about the phenomenon of Skype. 254 million connected users in Skype. Skype's mission is to be the global communications provider. The billions of people depend on every day for sharing experiences. For hundreds of millions of customers around the world, Skype has brought down barriers for communication. Skype bridges people across multiple platforms, barriers of cost, device, distance, language, availability, location, etc. Skype has 254 million average monthly connected users. It's a lot of users in Skype. At peak times, there's approximately 40 million concurrent users logged into Skype, and Skype users generate 300 billion voice and video minutes annually. Over which 50% are video. And what Microsoft is pointing out here is that this is a heavily utilized platform across all sorts of different industries. One thing that research has shown is that Skype is used fairly heavily in the States. It's also used much heavier in some other countries where there's still more traditional billing rates on telco and things of that nature to get around those things. And Microsoft realizes the importance of this platform, and that's why they've added complete integration with Skype into the Lync platform as well. So you can federate with Skype and imagine new ways to collaborate. As I mentioned earlier here, the federation with Skype essentially just means that I can do presence, instant messaging, and voice chat from my Lync client out to people that are on Skype, should your organization choose to allow folks to do this. It's not something that you have to allow them to do. You can control them. If there's certain folks in your organization you would like to be able to talk with outside entities, you can restrict it for other folks, things of that nature. So enabling customer deployment choice. This mentions Lync Server, which is essentially your on-premise Lync solution, or Lync Online, your Office 365 solution. Microsoft allows you to do either on-premise, on Lync Online or Office 365, or a hybridized model between the two of them, as you can see there. So you still have a single domain, your single Active Directory for authentication, but you split your user base. And the logic there is if you have power users or users that are going to leverage voice and unified communications with Lync, it might make sense to have those users in the on-premise solution. But if you have a large group of users that's only going to be doing instant messaging and presence, for example, It may be more cost-effective to have those folks running Lync out in the cloud. Your end users really don't know whether it's running on your premise or out in the cloud. But with these hybrid models, you guys can take the most cost-effective way to deploy these solutions and still give the best experience across the board. So a better development platform, new web API, powers the Lync Web application, mobile, and opens new opportunities for developers, for folks that are looking to develop on top of the platform. So just go over some of the Lync Enterprise benefits here. Obviously, the work from anywhere, enabling and improving the mobile productivity we talked about, real-time collaboration and communication amongst your colleagues, the connected experiences across the platforms, collaboration with voice and video using a unified client, simpler to manage. When you're using something like Lync and it is your platform for instant messaging and presence and unified communications and video and voice and multi-party chat and audio bridges for conferences, et cetera, you're managing one piece. It's all integrated within your existing Active Directory. You have one system that handles the logging and the legal discovery and across the board. So, many companies we sit down and have these discussions with, we identify 8 to 10 different systems, some of which you might own, some of which you're paying monthly fees to third-party providers for, and those costs and managing all those different systems adds up very, very quickly. And it can be greatly simplified by leveraging a platform like Lync. And then there's the deployment flexibility, accelerate the adoption of the online services. So, call to action. So I just want to talk about this a little bit here. So see and test drive Lync in one of our customer immersion experience centers. So Core BTS is one of only a very few Microsoft Experience Center qualified Microsoft partners in the United States, which means gives us the ability to come to your site or have you want to come to one of our offices if you're local and deliver an immersive experience for you. This includes Lync 2013 and the whole Office suite and all the integration. You actually have to get to have your end users or the team you select to go through this experience sit down at a brand new laptop with Windows 8 with touch and experience the integration of Lync and all the Office and all the modern Microsoft solutions together, so you can truly experience what this is all about. That's a service that Core BTS offers to our clients free of charge, and if you're interested in that, you can follow up with this after the session. We can also get you a trial environment so you can interact with and play with Lync in somewhat of a controlled pilot type environment, or participate in a business value assessment and Lync technical briefing. That is essentially an experience where Core will come out, we'll sit down with you, we'll talk about everything that these solutions have to offer, talk about what your business is looking to accomplish, what your business goals are, talk about where you want to be in 3 to 5 years with your collaboration platforms and what you want to offer your end users and some of the needs you feel have been defined, and we can talk about what we've done with other clients and how we can help you design a collaborative solution that really fits what you guys are looking to accomplish. So as time is running short, these are the 3 action items I wanted to leave you with. These are all things that we will offer to your organization, and we're glad to come out and assist you with these. The customer immersion experience, everything I just mentioned here, there's no charge for any of these. This is services we offer to you guys to help you understand the value of these technologies and how they can be leveraged within your environment. At this point, I'd like to ask the moderator to let me know if there's any questions we'd like to address and go from there.
Yep. Thank you, Tim. We do have some questions that came in during the presentation. Our first one came from D Cloud. Can you briefly explain how federations work?
So, okay, we mentioned federation. So, folks, Microsoft has essentially 2 different ways of doing federation. They have explicit federation and open federation. So what that means is with open federation, and I will try to minimize this and show you folks the client. With open federation, you are able to chat with anybody else that has open federation as well. So for example, my organization works heavily with Microsoft. So Microsoft themselves, obviously, they run Lync, and they're openly federated, which means anybody that is also openly federated can chat with them. So, for example, this is a gentleman at Microsoft, and I can chat with him right now even though I'm on my Lync environment inside my organization, and he's on his Lync environment inside his organization, so I can choose to chat with him. There's also explicit federation. So if you have a customer or a partner you work with, and they say, hey, we run Lync, and you guys run Lync, we'd like to be able to chat with each other or do instant messaging or video calls or everything Lync can do. You can ask your IT administrators, and they can initiate an explicit federation where you're connecting those two environments together. So that's federation in essentially a business-to-business model. Then there's also federation with things like Google Chat, Skype, and other XMPP-based public systems, which is something you configure on the back end, and you choose to allow your users to run or not run, on a per-user basis.
Great. And our second question came in from a guest. Is the web meeting available in Lync 2010?
So in Lync 2010, there is something similar to the Lync Web App, but it is more agent-based, and I don't want to say it's obtrusive at all, but it does require like an ActiveX component runs when you launch it and so forth. So it is there to answer your question. It's not called Lync Web App. It has a different name and it behaves a little bit differently, but the functionality is there. It's just not as seamless on the other user side. It's not HTML5 based. And to add on to that, one thing I neglected to mention, or we didn't get to, the Lync Web App, which can be used for when you're publishing meetings and things of that nature. The Lync Web App is available and it runs by default. If your organization is running Exchange 2013 and you have Outlook Web Access and you also have Lync 2013, if I were on a kiosk computer or any computer where I'm just launching through OWA, right up in the top right corner, Lync Web App actually runs. So I can do everything I'm doing here in Lync, and I can do it through Outlook Web Access 2013 as well.
Great. And we have another question from Jonathan. Can you give some examples of the integration with Outlook and other Microsoft apps?
Absolutely. So the integration with Outlook or Lync, I guess, is the question there. So the way the Lync integration works is essentially the bubble-based. So if I highlight over this particular user, his name is Drew, I can see all these same options in whether it's Outlook, whether it's all the other Office applications as well. So, for example, if I was working in Word and I was editing or reading a document that was written by Drew, down in the bottom right, I would actually see that he was the author, and I could highlight over and launch any of these particular features as well, without having to leave Word or Excel or whatever document I happen to be in. It's all based upon this particular format where you can highlight over the user and see all the different features that you can leverage within those setups. So I could be in the Word document, have a question about it, I can open this up, and I can instantly chat with Drew, and I would still be inside Word. I would never actually leave Word. Word just being one example. It's pretty much all of the Office applications.
Great. And we have another question from Chris K. Can this be integrated with my existing phone system?
Yeah. So, folks, we briefly touched on the unified communication side of things. Microsoft Lync Enterprise is a complete voice system as well. Organizations can choose to use Lync as their phone system. But also, one thing we run into quite often, a lot of clients have an existing phone system, whether it's an IP PBX system or a VoIP system that you have today. You can absolutely integrate the two together. So, for example, at Core BTS, in my organization here, we have a separate phone system. So I can be in Lync here. I can pick Sean Polter here is an employee of mine. I can highlight over his box here, and I can call him. But I can choose. Now, again, by default, if I click the phone, it'll automatically dial where he prefers to be dialed based upon his presence, but I can also choose to call different things. So I can actually say call work, call mobile, call him on Lync. And the way this works in our organization, for example, we have Lync 2013 fully deployed. We do have Lync voice deployed as well, but we also have connectivity between our Lync system and our phone system, which is facilitated via a SIP trunk. Essentially, there's a SIP is a protocol used in voice communications. we have a SIP trunk between our Lync system and our existing phone system that allows us to route calls back and forth from the existing phone system into Lync and vice versa, and take the best advantage of both of these. So in the majority of our Lync deployments in recent history, we have done some that have been complete Lync Enterprise Voice, where they choose to leverage Lync as their sole phone system, which is completely viable and works very well. But a lot of environments where you have an existing VoIP system or an IP PBX system, you'd love to add the video and the high-def video and the instant messaging and the chat and all those different things to the solution, while not getting rid of your telephone system, so they can absolutely be integrated together.
Perfect. And we have another question from Luann. Can this interact with my existing video conferencing systems?
Absolutely. So I think I mentioned briefly earlier, you can call into a video system. So the way most room-based conferencing systems work is that you give them an address. So for example, our room-based conferencing systems at Core BTS have a number and then essentially what looks like an email address. They have a number at video.corebts.com. So if you guys said, hey, we're having a meeting at our company, here's the address to dial into. So it's some number, some name at video.mycompany.com. If I were to just type that number into this session and hit enter, Lync would dial that session. It would route through the Lync mediation server, which does all the up-converting, down-converting of the codecs to make the Lync video match the codecs necessary for the third-party system, whether it's whatever, Tamberg or Lifesize or Polycom, and then it would just connect me into that room. So I can call directly from Lync into existing room-based conferencing systems or other third-party conferencing systems. Absolutely. It's designed to work entirely as a standalone solution. It's also designed such that it can integrate and leverage existing investments that your company has.
Thank you. And I'll put in one last question before we close out our Q&A. It comes from a guest. Does the Open Federation require ADFS 2.0, or is it built into the Lync server?
So Open Federation is integrated with Lync 2013. If you're speaking about the Open Federation for the IM presence, video, voice chat between other organizations, ADFS 2.0 is required when you are doing a hybridized model or a completely online model. ADFS 2.0 is the required technology to integrate your Active Directory with the Microsoft Office 365 cloud, such that when you log in, you're still using your on-premise credentials, but your Lync experience would be out in Office 365, if that makes sense.
Great. Thanks so much, Tim. That wraps up our presentation. Are there any words you'd like to close out with?
I would just like to say thank you all for attending. I know we have a mix of existing Core BTS customers and some new folks are interested in this technology on the session here. Again, as I mentioned, we have 3 different follow-up methods we can offer you guys, all of which provide a very immersive experience. Lync is one of these things that's great to talk about. It is much more compelling and powerful for us to show it to you in person, let you play with it, get your hands on it, truly experience the multi-party video and audio and high-definition chat, et cetera, et cetera. If you have interest, please feel free to respond to the inquiries you will get after the session, and we'll be glad to reach out and provide a more one-on-one, in-depth experience for you to take a look at.
Thanks so much, Tim. And if we didn't have time to answer your questions during today's Meetup on Air, or if you have more questions, as Tim said, you can use the scheduling module on the bottom right-hand side of your screen to schedule a more in-depth conversation with a Core BTS representative. So thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.